Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everybody, today we are going to have our session 8 or week 8. Hope everybody is in good condition, ready to have new topic. Without any further ado, I would like to open my PowerPoint. Let me share this. Okay, as you can see, mastery of grammar. This is our class, and our week is week 8, and then the topic is words to emphasize. Yeah. Let me have this PowerPoint large. Okay. As previously done in my previous material, everybody is allowed to write down any question because you are requested to ask at least one question. Yeah. To the one that you don't understand in any explanation. Okay, everybody, let's start. Words to emphasize. I would like to have the introduction that so far, or maybe since week 4, and then we had week 5, 6, 7. If you realize that our topic is mostly about emphasizing. I hope everybody still remember when we discussed about cleft sentences, and then we discussed fronting sentences, and then finally we had the discussion on inversion. So today we still discuss something about emphasize, but here we have words to emphasize. Words to emphasize. Yeah. Okay. To emphasize meaning, some words are used. So in sentences, we use words to emphasize something in order to get better meaning. Yeah. Let's see this one. To emphasize means to give more attention. To emphasize means to give more attention. So when we have this word, so the readers will directly focus on the part that we emphasize. I repeat again. In order to emphasize meaning on something, some words are used, or we use some words to emphasize meaning or to emphasize words or any part in a sentence. By using these words, the readers will directly focus on the part you emphasize because you see that word. Okay, everybody, go on. How do we emphasize? That is the question. How do we emphasize? Oh, what are things that we emphasize in English sentences? There are at least 7 points that we are going to discuss here. Functions of the emphasizes, everybody, let's see. The first emphasis is to intensify. Yeah, we intensify possessive adjectives. So the keyword is possessive adjectives. So we want to focus, we want to stress, we want to intensify. Yeah, any information about possessive adjectives. And then we use own. Number two, to mean exactly or precisely, in order to show the meaning of exactly, in order to show the meaning of precisely, yeah, we use the word very. Or in other words, the function of the second category of the emphasize is to intensify, yeah, adjective, to intensify adjective. Number three, another emphasize is to emphasize or to give stress, to give focus on something negative, not, no, and none. Yeah. So we emphasize in the sentence we have the meaning of negative, no, none, or not, and then we emphasize it by using several words or expression like at all, in the least, really, the least bit, and yeah, at all. Number four, the function of the emphasize of by using the words is to emphasize uniqueness. So if we have something unique in our sentence, or if we have something very, very specific in our sentence, so we can use the. Next one, to add an air of disbelief to the questions. So in the question, sometimes we want to stress, we want to emphasize the situation of disbelief. We want to express that we don't believe on something by having the question. So we use the word ever. We use the word ever in order to stress, in order to emphasize the meaning of disbelief, yeah, the message of the disbelief. And then number six, yeah, in order to emphasize the verb, yeah, we use do, we use did, we use does, or what everybody calls auxiliary do. When we have do and we have did, does, and then followed by verb, that means we are focusing or we are stressing the verb. And then number seven, we have the word to emphasize the noun, the word to emphasize adjective, and then the word to emphasize adverb. Okay, we are going to discuss these all seven emphasizes functions. Yeah. And everybody will find out again the description as well as the example. Now we are going to have number one. The function of the word is to intensify the possessive adjective. How do we intensify possessive adjectives? Here we can see we use own. We use the word own to intensify possessive adjectives. Everybody can see the following example. It was my own idea and nobody else's. It was my own idea and nobody else's. Everybody, we are talking about possessive adjective here, my and then idea. That means I'm talking about my idea. Yeah. So that is possession, and then my is the possessive adjective. And then we are going to stress, we are going to give the emphasis that is my own idea, not anybody else's. My own idea. So that means we intensify. Okay, I believe that everybody can make your own sentences using the word own. Now we go on to the next number 2. Again, I would like to remind everybody, if you have any question, you just write down. And then you are going to write down the question on video that I in my YouTube channel. Number 2, to mean exactly or precisely, or to intensify adjective. Yeah. So we are talking about we want to give or bring the message something about exactly or precisely. How do we do that? We use very, the word very, or we use the word indeed in order to mean exactly or precisely. For example, everybody, blah, 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 and that got me to thinking how many million people around the world were doing that very same thing at that very same moment. Yeah, I forgot to underline this. We have the word very, and then we have the word very. Here we can identify that the word very, yeah, means exactly, means precisely. So we can say exactly the same thing, exactly or precisely the same moment. So that is the word very. Number 2, I don't like adverbs in general, but there are some that are very, very stupid indeed. Very, very stupid indeed, and really get me irritated. Everybody, we have the word indeed. That means exactly, that means precisely. What everybody needs to pay attention is that when we use the very, we put the word very before the adjective. Very same, very funny, for example. So the word very is put before adjective. But when we have indeed, on the contrary, we put indeed after adjective. Stupid indeed, funny indeed, big indeed, something like that. Okay. Yeah, we go on to number 3. I hope everybody understands. And then you can do assignment that I'm going to ask you to do. Okay? Number 3 is to emphasize not, yeah, to emphasize no, and then to emphasize none. So we are talking about something negative. Yeah. To emphasize not, to emphasize no, and to emphasize not, we use at all, we use in the slightest, we use really, we use the least bit, we use whatsoever. I think I have to cross this one because this is the same like this one. Okay, for example, everybody, Sheila is not the least bit attractive. So we use the least bit attractive. In my opinion, of course. Everybody, the expression the least bit is used after negative message not. So we have not the least bit, not the least bit. Okay. And or if we can discuss further, the least bit is put before adjective. The word the least bit is put before adjective. Now, number 2, her reaction doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Her reaction doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Everybody, in the slightest here is to emphasize the negative meaning. Doesn't. Yeah. So we can identify the meaning is just like really doesn't surprise me. Her reaction really doesn't surprise me. doesn't surprise me at all. Something like. Number 3, he took deep breaths, great breaths, and the tears fell until there were none left whatsoever. Does it emphasize negative meaning? Yes, we can see here the word none. Yeah, that is negative. And then we have whatsoever to give emphasis on the word none. It means at all. Yeah. Really, really. The tears fell until there were really none left. There were none left at all. But here we have whatsoever. Okay, next, please. You have to pay attention. Yeah. We have to emphasize uniqueness. Everybody see. How do we emphasize uniqueness? Very simple to say that we use the to emphasize uniqueness. What is here the meaning of uniqueness? To me is something specific, yeah, something special, so that is uniqueness. Now, for example, everybody, surely you are not the Paul Newman. Yeah. Are you? Okay. Everybody, we have the here, yeah, because we want to give stress. We want to give emphasis on the name Paul Newman. Paul Newman. So Paul Newman is something unique. Paul Newman is something specific. And then we want to stress. We want to emphasize, yeah, by having the Paul Newman. The Paul Newman. So everybody, we are not talking about any other name, for example, George, but we are talking about Paul Newman, the Paul Newman. What I mean is that you are the real Paul Newman, the real Paul Newman. Okay, I hope everybody understand this more. Yeah, not because we have not, yeah, but we are using the because we want to emphasize Paul Newman, not because we have not. Okay, we can say something like, surely you are the Paul Newman, something like that. So we are not talking about not, but the is used to emphasize Paul. Okay, hope everybody understand. This is very simple. It's supposed to be easy for everybody to understand. Okay, next. Yeah. To add an air of disbelief, yeah, to the question. Sometimes we don't believe on something, and then we ask the question. Yeah. How do we emphasize that we don't believe on that something? Yeah. So we use the word ever. We use the word ever. Everybody, here we have add ever to add an air of disbelief to the question. So I repeat again. We use the expressions of ever in order to show that we don't believe on something. We want to stress that I don't believe on something. Yeah. So please pay attention to me. Okay, for example, I want to know whoever told you. I was watching that sort of program. That means okay, let's see the structure first. We have the word ever. And then the question is who. So we have whoever. I want to know whoever told you. I was watching that sort of programs. That means we want to emphasize. I can't believe that somebody. I can't believe that you take the information from someone. Yeah, that I was watching that sort of program. I can't believe that you you uh, you listen to that person. So I want to know whoever told you, whoever told you. So that means whoever here is used to show that you don't believe to anybody uh, telling you that I was watching that sort of program. Okay, I hope everybody can make conclusion that we can modify the sentence, not only whoever, but we can make another modification like whatever, however, whichever, yeah, wherever, in which we are talking about uh, uh, disbelief, disbelief. Yeah. Okay, now we go on to the next. Yeah. Okay, everybody, to emphasize the verb, yeah, to emphasize the verb, yeah, we can use auxiliaries. Do. We can use auxiliary did. We can use auxiliary does. Again, the key word is that to emphasize the verb. So we are talking about the verb. Everybody look at this one. Examples. I do like Sarah. I do like Sarah. Everybody, we have do and then like. It's only that sometimes it can be a little pushy. I do like Sarah. Everybody, we have the structure of do, and then after that we have like. That means we are in this sentence, the word do emphasizes the word like. Okay. Next, she did call you last night. She did call you last night. So everybody will have did, and then after that we have call. That means the sentence uses did in order to stress, in order to emphasize the verb call. Okay, so that means she really called you last night. She really called you last night. Number 3, my father does work in a farm. Yeah. My father does work in a farm. Everybody, we have the word does in order to emphasize the word work. Yeah. Maybe somebody does not believe in what you say. My father works in a farm, and then somebody blah 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 says something that she or he doesn't believe in what you say, and then you say, no, my father does work in a farm. My father doesn't work in any other field of job, but my father does work in a farm. Okay. What I want everybody to pay attention, not only the meaning, but we can see that all the verb, yeah, is simple. We have like. You don't say, for example, liked in the past. Call. This is simple. You don't say she did called, for example. No, no. Maybe there is an argumentation, but here we have last night. So that means we are talking about past time. So it's supposed to be called. No, no. Yeah. The structure says, because we got the word did, so it's okay for us to say. Oh. My father does work. Work here is simple. Yeah, simple. You don't say work with works because of my father is singular, no. But my father does work. Okay, hope everybody gets the meaning, the function, as well as the pattern, yeah, the structure. Now we go on to the last one, if I'm not mistaken. To emphasize the noun, to emphasize the adjective, and then to emphasize the adverb. How do we do that? To emphasize the noun, adjective, or adverb, we can use other adjectives, or we can use other adverbs. Yeah. Everybody look at this one. I actually visited Elvis Presley's Graceland. Everybody, we have actually, yeah. This is to emphasize the word visited. Okay. Actually is an adverb. Yeah. And then this modifies visited. This modifies visit. Next, this is the sheer truth, I promise. This is the sheer truth, I promise. Everybody, we have sheer in order to emphasize truth. Okay, sheer is an adjective in order, and then it modifies the noun. Okay. The next one, small families breed pampered children. What utter nonsense. Let me repeat again. Small family breed pampered children. What utter nonsense. Everybody, we have utter, and then we have nonsense. Yeah. Utter here is to emphasize nonsense. Okay. Utter here is an adjective, and then nonsense here is a noun. Okay. I think this one is familiar to everybody. I hope this can be easily understood. Now we go on to the next, the last part, the last one. Still about emphasizing the noun, adjective, and then adverb. Emphasize the noun, adjective, and adverb. We are talking about non-gradable adjectives. Non-gradable adjectives. Non-gradable adjective mean we cannot have something like shorter, yeah, bigger. So those are gradable adjectives. But here we are talking about non-gradable adjective. For example, absolutely, utterly, simply. Okay. So those are all non-gradable adjectives. And then the function is that to express an absolute opinion. To express an absolute opinion. I recommend it. We had an absolutely fantastic time there. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely here is an adjective modifying another adjective. Absolutely is an adjective modifying another adjective. Absolutely here means absolute, yeah, exactly, something I trust 100%. We continue. I must confess, I found her advice utterly useless. Utterly useless. Everybody, we have utterly, yeah, this is an adjective, yeah, and then this utterly modifies useless, and useless is an adjective, so adjective modifies adjective. The next one, oh, and then the meaning of utterly means absolute, exactly, precisely, something like that. The last one, her dressing style is simply delightful. Simply is a non-gradable adjective. That means we cannot say simpler or simplest. No. Okay. Simply is an adjective, non-gradable adjective, modifying delightful or emphasizing delightful. And then delightful is an adjective. So adjective modifies an adjective. Okay, everybody. So these are all the examples of how we use the word non-gradable adjectives, yeah, to emphasize adjective expressing an absolute opinion. Everybody, I think that's it for our topic today. Yeah, hope everybody can understand and then learn something you also enjoyed. Thank you very much. Yeah. Please pay attention to my instruction on the Google Classroom. Thank you. See you around. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.